Morning all and welcome back to the video tutorials. Today we are going to understand about another activity of the human beings which not only transferred human beings into a civilized being but also made sure that humans reach the pinnacle of the life web, and that is known as agriculture and farming. Let's see what is actually it is. Now, one of the oldest and the most important farming economic activity of the man, which made sure that man becomes a civilized being. Now, agriculture, you all know, it may be defined as the art and science of growing of crops, plants, fruits, etc., and also rearing and breeding of the animals in the conditions which are conducive for them, but also in making the conditions conducive with the help of technology, which is very easily available to the humans. Now, agriculture, you all know, is a multifaceted activity. It is done in various socio-economic, cultural, and climatic conditions. So, due to this, agriculture has developed various forms or types, or you can say various types of agricultural systems have been developed. So, let us see. Let us have a look on the various types of agricultural system that have been developed due to various conditions available in various parts of the world. So the types of agricultural system based on the method of farming and the method of farming etc. and socio-economic conditions, different types of crops are grown and different livestock are raised in different parts of the world. The following are the main agricultural systems. These are: number one, subsistence agriculture, which is subdivided into primitive subsistence and intensive subsistence, followed by plantation agriculture, then commercial and grain farming, mixed farming, then it is the dairy farming, then it is followed by the Mediterranean farming and the market and the truck farming. So the first type of the agriculture system is the subsistence agriculture. As the word suggests, subsistence, it is basically for the sustenance of the life of the producer only, and the produce which is done in this type of farming or agriculture is wholly consumed by the producer or the farmer, or very less or in fact none is kept for the market. That is why it is known as subsistence farming. Now, based on the method of cropping and production, it is divided into two subdivisions. These are your primitive subsistence agriculture and the intensive subsistence agriculture. The first and the foremost is the primitive subsistence agriculture. This, as the word suggests, primitive means very old technique which is practiced very less in nowadays in the world. Only the tribal communities in the very densely forested area of the world practice this, and this is also known as the shifting cultivation because the tribal communities keep on moving from one area to another area of the forest in search of the fertile soil or fertile patch of the land. And the areas which are where these are practiced is basically the densely forested areas dominated by the tribal communities, which are left by the governments in their natural habitat. The major areas can be defined as the African continent, the South and the Central America, and the Southeast Asia. Now, this type of farming has different names in different parts of the world. For example, it is known as jumping in the northeastern states of the India, Milap in Central America and Mexico, Langdang in Indonesia and Malaysia. Now, the methodology of the subsistence agriculture is very simple. Reason being, primitive subsistence agriculture, it's very simple because the tools etc. which are used here and the techniques which are used are very primitive and old. Reason being because they haven't touched any sort of modernity or technology. They live with a proper harmony in the harmony with the nature. So the cultivation is basically done by clearing of the vegetation cover, by burning and mixing the ashes in the soil to increase the productivity. So that is why another name of the primitive subsistence agriculture is slash and burn activity also. Labor is mainly from the family itself, and tools are very basic. For example, hoe, sickle, sticks, etc. Yield per hectare is very low, and so similar is the case with the labor productivity. The land patches are also very low, or very less in numbers. Once the farmer has used one particular patch of land for 3 to 5 years, and as soon as the soil loses its fertility, the farmer shifts to another part of the forest area. They may return to the earlier patch after some time, but that depends upon upon the time taken by the soil to regain its fertility. The basic problem with the shifting cultivation is the cycle of the jump, or the cultivation basically becomes very less due to loss of the fertility in different parcels or patches of the forested area forest, which is very quick because of the high use of the land. Moving forward is the intensive subsistence farming. This is another form of subsistence agriculture which is practiced only basically in the monsoon Asia. Now, why it is done only in the monsoon Asia? Because of the availability of very fertile soil and water, plus because of the high dense population base, which is actually a characteristics of the monsoon Asia. Now, on the basis of the crops which is grown in this part of the world, it is further subdivided into two categories: intensive subsistence cultivation with paddy as the dominant crop, and intensive subsistence cultivation without paddy or dominated by the other crops. So, intensive subsistence cultivation with paddy dominance. This is characterized by the dominance of the rice cultivation due to availability of the fertile soil and water for irrigation. The areas which are where this type of cultivation is practiced, mainly the monsoon Asia, predominantly because the yield per hectare of the crop is quite high, which can meet the dense population base of the area. Methodology, if we talk about the methodology of the cultivation here, the land holdings are small because of the immense pressure of the population base, and the farmers work with the family labor, leading to intense use of the land. Machinery use is very limited, and all I can say, all or most of the agriculture operations are basically done by the manual labor. Now, organic manure is used to maintain the fertility of the soil, and in this type of cultivation agriculture, yield per hectare is high, but the labor productivity is very low because of one of the basic problem which agriculture faces in this part of the world is the disguised unemployment. Because all the farmers family is employed as labor, the yield per hectare of the crop is high, but the labor productivity is quite low. The next is intensive subsistence agriculture dominated by other crops. Though it is practiced in the monsoon Asia again, but it is different from the paddy cultivation. Reason being because of a difference in the leaf features, soil fertility, and climatic conditions. That is why other crops dominate in the cropping pattern. Now, different crops are for different areas. For example, wheat, soybean, barley, and sorghum are grown in the northern China, Manchuria, North Korea, and northern Japan. In India, wheat is grown in the western parts of the Indo-Gangetic plain, and millets are grown in the dry parts of the western and the southern India. Now, the methodology of the agriculture is not very different from the wet paddy cultivation areas, but only here the means of irrigation are used as these are slightly drier part of the monsoon Asia. Reason being, these are the areas which are having rainfall ranging between 50 to 75 or 50 to 100 centimeters per annum. So, but in the recent years, due to change in the agricultural technologies and availability of the good irrigational facilities, these areas have been able to produce or procure one paddy crop in the season, especially in the northwestern Indo-Gangetic plains, or also locally known as the Yamuna Satluj plains, just because of the availability of the irrigational facilities and having a good fertile alluvial soil. So with this, we end today's topic.